Hi, it's Monday and it's the 24th of March, and we're about to look at the current astrology. So let's go straight to the share because it's quite an interesting week. We're leading up, of course, to the solar eclipse on Saturday. So, what are the planets talking about as we do that? Right, well, it's all happening in Aries, of course. Now, this is Aries over here, this red squiggle, which is something like a ram's horns, or some others say it's like a blade of grass shooting out from the primordial mud, whichever. It's red on this astrology program because it's a fire sign. And everything is exciting in Aries. This is an instigating, initiating, fast moving fire energy. It's a junior sign, it's the first of the fire signs, so it doesn't really care much about anything except that it's going to be the fastest, the strongest, the biggest. It likes fighting. Aries likes fighting, and it has to be said that Aries will fight for a cause. They can be a knight in shining armor, they can be King Arthur. However, if there isn't a decent battle to fight for, they'll just fight for anything because it's all about combat. Okay, so we've got Venus in Aries. Aries is this squiggle here, that one there. Some say that it's a ram's horns. Others say that it looks like grass, just a shoot of grass springing out of the primordial mud, whichever. I suppose it also looks like a geyser or something like that, or flames shooting out of a volcano. You can just keep going with this. Okay, so we've got the Sun at 4 degrees of Aries, Mercury at 4 degrees of Aries, Salacia, dwarf planet, at 10 degrees of Aries, Chiron, 21 degrees of Aries, and then the troublesome Eris at 24 degrees of Aries. Aries in Aries. Yes, I'll get that right. As far as the other planets are concerned, Mars is getting into play here. 21 degrees of Cancer, but that is a 90-degree aspect or a square aspect from Chiron here. And they are almost exact now. So this is telling a bit of a story, but so is this pile up in Aries. It's what it's about really is a build-up, right? And it is a build-up. I mean, the trouble in Turkey is something to watch for. Obviously, we're more interested in Turkey over here in Europe, but it is a big one because Turkey is a country that is ruled with an iron grip by an almost dictator, an autocrat who crushes any rebellion, or even, if it looks like somebody else might be voted in because they're quite popular, then he quickly has them arrested and put in jail. And that's exactly what he's done. And so there are some street, there's people out on the street, angry, a bit of rioting, etc. But as much as that might be able to happen at the moment, I suspect that when we get to Saturday and the sun's light is extinguished, as far as we're concerned, because the moon passes between Earth and the sun, then that fire will be crushed. Then that revolution or the excitement or the anger will be doused out. And so we'll have to see what happens with that one. But basically, because everything is moving into Aries, there is a flush of energy. There is a real, it's almost like a tempest waiting to go off. It could fire off in any direction, in whichever way. It could fire off between interpersonal relationships. It could fire off between transpersonal relationships, nations, leaders. This energy is absolutely erratic, and anybody could suddenly feel themselves a victim of it or the perpetrator of it. We could suddenly find that we explode and we think, where did that come from? I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, So we've got this lead up. Now, Mercury and the Sun are together at the moment. This means that talking can be voluble. It can come quickly, and really there's no connection between the brain and the mouth, if you see what I mean. This will suit Trump no end, won't it, really? Who never makes a connection between the two anyway. So we could get a lot of that. We could get a lot of verbal stuff at the moment. Um, it's And I think we have to remember what I've really just said. There is no connection to sense and sensibility. There is no connection to logic. This is just a flame of energy, like coming out of a dragon's mouth, shooting energy, and then it's gone. And I think you have to take it for that, really, and kind of like take everything as if to say, yeah, okay, it's all a bit of a whoosh at the moment, but it won't be around next week. There you go. Okay, now the other thing that we just saw on the chart there was Chiron is square to Mars. It can be a bit of a tough one. It really does show issues with feeling wounded, feeling hurt, feeling as if you're depleted resources, not strong enough, as if there's something that you would long for, but it's a secret, or there is a humility or an embarrassment, and you don't want anybody to know it, but you suddenly feel exposed. It can get to the heart of not feeling strong enough, not feeling as if you are King Arthur, not feeling as if you are the other one, as if you knights in shining armor. Okay, it can be quite hurtful, and it can. I guess people can lash out because they are in pain. However, as with all things Chiron, these things are opportunities to feel those wounds, and we can't heal anything that isn't first felt. We have to know what the wounds are before we can contemplate, before we can sort of consider. And then as we're doing that, we're getting the wisdom to live with those wounds. But we have to recognize them. Otherwise, we are an animal screaming in pain with its paw trapped in a trap or something, where logic doesn't make sense. And nothing is going to come out of the screeching and the anger. What Chiron can produce is an ability to live with something, to accept that pain is inevitable and we have to feel it sometimes. Maybe we feel depressed, maybe we feel loss, depression, meaninglessness, things like that can be part of this journey. But the journey is there to teach us how to manage these things. And then when we've learnt that, we don't need to feel them again. The lesson has been learned. So Chiron can be difficult, but we should always remember with Chiron that these are the wounds that make us wise. And these are the things that make us sensitive, compassionate, patient with others. And so they're very much part of our human journey. Okay, now that's in the midst of all this kerfuffle fire stuff. Now, okay, just watch yourself this week because it'll go off anywhere. You know, you can be in a queue or in your car and somebody's peeping the horn at you, or so just kind of like try to dodge the bows and arrows all around you. And there will be such a significant change with quite a lot to learn when it comes to this eclipse on Saturday morning. So I'll be covering that on Wednesday for certain. So I've got a lot of work to do on it because it includes 3 of the dwarf planets, which means this is part of this century's lesson. The astrology for this century is going to be a feature of this eclipse, and therefore it's that, it's got to be one to pay attention to, as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so it was great to talk to you, and I'm going to say goodbye now, and I will see you Wednesday for a bumper edition because of the eclipse, the solar eclipse on Saturday. Okay, thank you, and I look forward to it. Okay, bye.